Hello, welcome to the Great British Shitcom, the show in which we watch some potentially forgotten sitcom classics to see if they stood the test of time. I'm Mark, this is Chris Woods.
Hello.
And this is Chris Jones.
All right.
Today we are watching Butterflies. You guys excited for Butterflies?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a little bit nervous.
Yeah. Good.
Butterflies.
Good.
Stomach.
Yeah.
Imagine that in real life, having like butterflies inside your stomach. That'd be worse than being nervous. But it'd be like a perpetual thing because then you realise you have butterflies and that make you more nervous.
Until your belly just fills full of butterflies. And
What'd you do?
What if you had actual butterflies in your stomach?
Yeah.
I don't know, probably see a doctor. I'm more concerned about the fact they're alive, not killed by the stomach acid.
Well, if they manage to sort of float out of it,
Yeah, it's true.
flutter around.
I suppose you get tapeworm, that lives, doesn't it? Where does that live? Does that live in your stomach or does that live in your intestines?
Intestines, I think. Yeah, not quite as a catchy title for a sitcom, though, is it? Tapeworms.
no.
Life is like a tapeworm. We could just go for the old woman who swallowed a fly route, and then what eats a butterfly?
Do you ever find out why she swallowed a fly? They never really said why. They
Which
just
is,
sort
I
of
don't know why.
gave her a diagnosis, didn't they? Straight onto it.
No, they're not giving a diagnosis. They're just telling you the story about what happened.
No, but it's like, why did she swallow a fly?
I don't know why.
Perhaps she'll die.
I thought it's I don't know why. Perhaps she'll die.
Yeah, but he didn't know why she swallowed it, but he just went straight onto it's not relevant, is it? It's just it might kill her.
It was like a cold case from the policeman telling the rhyme. It's just a cold case he can't solve, and it's just like haunted him this entire time.
I could have done more. I could have saved her.
Yeah.
Should never have told her to eat that wolf or whatever
Knew
it was.
It was going to escalate.
Who's giving her this advice as well? I'll tell you what, pop a wolf down your throat. And,
That's what happens when you phone 111 to get.
Gritty reboot of the Lady Swallowed a Fly. just drinking.
I'd watch it.
Drinking on his own.
Yeah.
It could have done more.
Series of chalk outlines of bigger and bigger animals that she's eating.
Series 2 confirmed. I've had to up the CGI budget because it's unrealistic.
Oh, we're going to get a wolf. All right, yeah, that's a pretty good intro.
Yeah, lovely.
That's right.
All right, what do you both know about Butterflies, the sitcom? Not the we did the insects as well if you like, but that's not what we're here to talk about today. Pointless research.
Well, pointless.
Well,
Nothing.
good.
No, I know it's got the guy who was in 40 Towers, the psychiatrist who wanted his sausages. That's it.
Like he's gone for that over Lyndhurst.
What?
Nicholas Lyndhurst.
Oh, it's Nicholas Lyndhurst.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. No, I didn't know. It's the guy from.
It's a
Is he a psychiatrist? No, he wasn't a psychiatrist. He was a doctor.
Chris's favourite recurring sitcom character. He follows him around for every sitcom he goes to. What is it? Butterflies. Now I might as well watch it. Lyndhurst
Is he eating sausages? No. Oh, disappointing.
Well, I'll give it a go.
Is he the guy that's in As Time Goes By? Is it that guy or the other son in this?
I don't know. It might be. What do you mean, son? No, he's the old man.
Oh, the old man. Yeah, he was
Yeah.
in As Time Goes By. Should I give you a premise for what the series is?
Please do.
Kind of.
Would one of you two like to read it? Because
Go on, Chris, you're good at reading.
Thanks. That's that.
He keeps his phone on silent and he's good at reading.
Education system doesn't fail, does it? Do you want me to enunciate? All right. So this is Butterflies. Series premise: Rhea. Is that short for anything? I don't know. Happily married suburban housewife reaches the age where she feels as if life is passing her by, being taken for granted by a butterfly collecting dentist. That's weird, isn't it?
No, that's why.
It's weird, isn't it? It's like a serial killer, isn't it? Like collecting butterflies.
It's usually a serial killer collects
Does he kill them?
butterflies.
Chloroform? I don't know. Collecting dentist doesn't help, so when the opportunity for an affair comes up, okay, she actually tries to decide whether she loves her husband enough to be faithful to him. So that's interesting. It's interesting this description says she's happily married, whereas the Wikipedia one says she's frustrated.
Yeah.
Because if someone's happily married, you think they wouldn't be going for an affair.
No.
Lepidopterist.
Lepidopterist, is that the name for like a butterfly collector?
No, just like God. Yeah, of course, yeah. It's, yeah.
How'd you go in there?
Okay, so it's going to be family dynamic. Apparently, it's two sons as well that are kind of like he's a bit frustrated with their sort of layabout ways. When was this? This was sort of late 70s then. So it's got some gags about her disastrous cooking.
Brilliant. That's always a rich
It was
source of material.
Oh,
Sauce.
rich sauce.
Yeah.
Or
I like her cooking. Am I
I
right?
said watery sauce if it's banned. Anyway. So how relevant do we think butterflies are going to be, or do you think it was just like, I can't think of a name for it, I'll just make him a butterfly collector? Is he going to be doing it every episode?
It does sound a bit tenuous, but then when you think about like the premise of it, where it's usually like a frustrated
And she wants some
housewife
new
who's like
life.
trapped,
Yeah.
like she's been trapped by this butterfly collector and pinned and mounted. Not like that.
Hang on, who's
but
the butterfly collector in this? Is it the
the
dentist?
dad, Jeffrey Palmer.
Dad.
Isn't it?
Oh, he is. Oh,
Dentist,
okay.
yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So
So
then
I
obviously
can-
there's a bit of a
I can imagine this. We've
metaphor
seen
there, kind of thing going
I
on.
think so.
scenes of him just sitting in a room with like pins and butterflies. Like just really boring.
His wife should be called Annette. That would miss a trick there.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like it. It's been
Of course
cracking
you
up
would.
30 minutes solid. Yeah, not listen to anything else.
Oh, I get it.
Oh, no.
All right.
So Carla Lane that wrote this also wrote The Liver Birds and Bread.
Yep.
Do you want to guess the rating? The fun game we always play.
6.
It's always a round 6.
Hmm?
Right, what is the? Is it a round number or is it the whole
No,
point?
it's a decimal.
Pitchfork style. 7.3.
That's a 6.9.
69. Nice.
Yeah. Nice.
Uh,
So this stars Wendy Craig, who was in Not in Front of the Children, Doctors and Casualty. Jeffrey Palmer, who was in Tomorrow Never Dies, and Paddington. He was in Paddington, to pronounce that.
And 40 Hours, one episode.
Oh, yeah.
Eating the sausages. Yeah.
Eating
Sorry.
sausages. Doctor thought they poisoned, but it gone off.
Bruce Montague, who was in New Tricks. He was in Hollyoaks as well. And Doctors. And Nicholas Lyndhurst, who was in Only Fools and Horses, as we all know. And, of course, Goodnight Sweetheart. So what do you both know of them, what we've discussed about like butterflies? Did you know anything about it before we did this?
No.
No. I don't think it's. I'm not sure it's held in that high regard.
Yeah, I know very little about it. Like, I think this is one that just came up in some research.
I think it's quite a gentle comedy.
Gentle, what do you mean? It's going to be like just safe.
Yeah.
Like, it's
yeah,
gonna be
exactly.
mainly based
Just down
around,
middle,
like-
middle of the road stuff.
Her cooking and the kids like, oh, Dad.
Yeah, but then apparently, like, this is like what I reckon this is like Carla Lane's best work, according to that.
Oh, really?
From reading it, I reckon it sounded like she did more interesting work than Live of Birds and Bread, to be honest.
Well, I know more of I know more about the Liver Birds. So the episode we're watching today is called A Dog's Life, Series 2, Episode 4. What do you reckon this is about?
Do they have a dog?
We're going to find out, I suppose, aren't we?
Well, I don't know. Yeah, they're either going to get a dog or it's going to be
A dog involved. Well, they've got to look after someone's dog.
look after someone's dog and they're going to be jealous of a dog. I don't know.
Jealous of a dog?
Well, yeah, I mean, like, so, yeah, because he's probably going to think, oh, a dog just has the life of it, don't they? They just lay around
I
sleep all
see,
day,
I
don't
see.
they?
Right.
Or something like that, or I don't know.
I thought a dog's life was bad.
What do you mean?
Like, oh, this is a dog's life. Like, it's bad. You're treated badly.
Really?
Or working like a
Is
dog?
that wrong?
Is that
Yeah,
coming
no,
to
that's
the
right. Look, a dog's life. An unhappy existence full of problems or unfair treatment.
Oh, right, well,
He led poor Amy a dog's life.
I thought
What
dogs'
sort of
lives was
dogs are
happy.
these? Like-
Dogs are well happy.
Yeah, my dog's like loving it. Love
Shit, the
to.
messenger. Like, this is
No, no, I'm
dog's
just
life.
saying.
Idiomatic, a miserable, wretched existence. Originally, the term referred to the hard life of the working dog, sleeping in a damp barn, chasing rats and other intruders, living on scraps, etc.
Should we go watch this?
Yeah.
All right. So we're going to watch Series 2, Episode 4, A Dog's
Why
Life.
watching Series 2, Episode 4?
I think it was the first one that came up that you could watch. I've noticed that
Minimum effort.
a lot of things that are on YouTube now they're starting to like take down. I think this is one of the ones that is still up. So
Limit.
either a coincidence or YouTube's finally hearing about Shitcom and going, oh, we've got to shut these boys down. So one of the two. Probably the first.
Ian YouTube is like, oh, we've
Ian
got to shut
YouTube.
these boys down.
All right, let's go watch this.
Love is like a butterfly, soft and gentle as a sigh. The multicolored moods of love are like its satin wings.
We just watched Series 2, Episode 4 of Butterflies entitled A Dog's Life. I realised last time when I reintroduced coming back into this, people like just hear the intro to that.
Yeah.
And I say right beforehand, so I don't really need to say that. So, you know, what? Meant to know that.
Oh.
Yeah, never mind. We watched series 2, episode 4, Dog's Life. Jones, do you want to read the premise out that we've got for this? Your turn.
Again, have you all done it?
No, we've done the series. This is the
Oh yeah,
episode
so
premise.
right, so the episode premise, the episode rating was 6.7. Episode premise: after the boys have annoyed new neighbour Mr. Conrad, Rhea goes to church to rail at God about her static life and finds Mrs. Conrad is there. After almost running a dog, Rhea goes to see the doctor, who tells her to take things easy as she has nervous exhaustion. Mrs. Conrad is at the surgery too, and Rhea accuses her of spying on her, but Mrs. Conrad explains that both visits were down to her seeking comfort for her inability to bear children.
Comedy.
I also should point out that the confrontation about her spying happens at the park when she notes that she's also at the park after seeing her at the surgery.
Because as we all know, people who go to church, the doctors in the park, are worried about something. Standard, always.
Or a pedo.
The doctors about being a pedo.
Caught
I'll
something.
cure them, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
so I've heard.
Right then, I'm going to do the classic go through each minute by minute reenactment of that whole episode.
And if you've
Off we
watched this
go.
episode and you thought that was bleak, wait till you hear our retelling of it.
Wait till you hear us unenthusiastically go through in real time that episode.
I've got 9 bullet points. on
Okay,
what
we
happened.
open on a playground. What was his name? Gordon? No, it was Gordon was the doctor. What was her?
Leonard.
I'm Leonard.
It's random. I don't know.
He's going down a slide.
Yeah, because he's full of youth, exuberance, got his little bow tie on.
Why is it? Do you think
I think let's set the scene for who Leonard is in this scenario.
Good
then.
point. Yeah. So the Rio is there, the protagonist lady, the matriarch of the family. Leonard is, I guess, the guy she's
Like a friend.
considering having an affair with, isn't
Yeah,
it?
quotes friend, I guess. Male friend. Don't know.
Man friend.
Yeah, he's wearing a little bow tie, got his jacket thrown over his shoulder. Bow
Are
tie.
they implying that he's just
Well,
there? He is.
Just looking at the TV screen, that's exactly what you could say.
He's casual, isn't he?
Yeah, very casual.
Would you ever a bow tie? Bow tie? No.
I hate bow ties.
Hate bow tie. Hate it.
Okay. Well, if you're invited to a black tie,
No, I'm
event,
just
you have
saying,
to
yeah,
wear
but no,
one,
I
don't
know,
you?
but immediately he turned me off him with his character because he was wearing a bow
Turned
tie.
off.
Yeah.
I was like,
I agree.
what a prick. There's no need for it.
Turned
is there?
off.
Sorry.
It's immediately soft. Ah.
No, it's just, yeah, no, you can't stand a bow tie.
Well, I don't think it's anyone's first tie of choice, but if you're invited to a black tie event...
No,
then
some
you
people
can't-
do. Some people choose to wear a bow tie. Like with
James-
a suit, they'll go to like work.
James
and they'll
Bond.
wear always
Prick.
non-stop prick. Showing off, isn't he?
Yeah.
Fucking hell.
Oh, my watch shoots things out of it. Yeah, pathetic.
What?
Don't know. We've got a special watch, hasn't
James Bond.
Special watch?
he? Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Okay.
What do you think?
Oh, my car's got rockets that comes out of it.
What, rockets out
Idiot.
of the watch? You have an half? No, of course not.
Yeah. Oh, my white car goes underwater like a submarine. Show off.
Yeah. Yeah, but he needs it. It's part of his job, isn't it?
Company car.
Couldn't do without it. What do you think? What if you get into a situation where you have to shatter some glass with a sonic ring?
I can shatter glass in my sonic ring. Farts. Okay, so then and I think they're having a walking and talking. He's going on a slide. They're talking about.
Oh, I don't know. Just pissed him out.
Fuck! I should have written something down.
He said something like, I advise you have 1 hour's
Yeah.
acting like a kid every day to stay happy,
Yeah, and
essentially.
and like the people who are free want to be like in a be with someone in a relationship, but the people who are in a relationship look like they want to be free. Like, and that's kind of the overarching thing is about how people always want what they don't have. I think is what the gist of the whole thing is.
Yeah.
As we'll come to later on in the denouement of this episode.
Yeah.
That happens. They're being playful. He gets on the seesaw. She can't get him down. He's too heavy. He says his helmet
he's
his
not.
helmet hair is weighing down the
He's egging her on to be like, oh, come on, pull the other side of the seesaw down.
Yeah,
But he's
you
making no
slag.
effort to help her.
All right, and then finally, after that, we're itching, we're waiting to see it, and finally, second scene, Lyndhurst. We
Yeah.
see him and his testicles.
Yeah,
His brother,
both of them.
His brother, I think, was packing more, and it was more visible. But I think that might be because he was wearing a slightly lighter shade of denim. But in every
Yes.
scene, you can see the exact position of both his testicles and his shaft.
Yes.
I pointed it out for you every time, didn't I?
Yeah.
To help you.
Like you started getting like bored of yourself doing it, so you just started pointing at the screen instead of
Well, you
verbally
knew what I
saying
meant.
it. Yeah, yeah. Yeah,
There it is.
Yeah,
Well, there they are.
yeah.
They're playing frisbee across the street, right? It was quite. It was a bit weird, but then it was quite as in keeping with the rest of the episode. It was quite. The dialogue was used quite sparingly and with intent, right? So this scene was pretty much played out in silence, which I thought was interesting. But they throwing it, and it was odd.
It's very gentle throwing. It's like they were just throwing it really limply.
Yeah.
Like it's like they knew we were in a residential street and they didn't want to cause any accidents. They weren't like lobbing the frisbee thinking,
No,
it's going to
no.
win. They're proper like gently throwing it, so it barely got across the road.
Yeah, they're both pretty tall as well, so they don't need to get that much. I reckon because they're so lanky, they've got quite a bit of reach on them, I think, so they don't really need to throw it
Could
that
have
hard.
probably just passed it. To
They
each
could
other
have
across the
easily passed it
street.
across the street, yeah.
You know.
And they're sort of, they've got a little bit of a smirk on, a little bit of a coy expressions as they're throwing it across the street.
Well, they're knowing it's probably, loads of neighbours
Yeah, it's
looking
a
out the
little bit
windows
naughty.
thinking,
It's a little bit
those
naughty.
fucking pricks are out there again, that frisbee.
Yeah, so they're throwing the frisbee, and then one of them is a bit too high, even for Lyndhurst, who is extremely tall. I straight over his head, and across the neighbours across them opposite their house, and they was backing out their driveway in like a shitty old was it like a Granada or something? I don't know.
So had sunroof.
Had the sunroof
Most
open,
importantly.
and the frisbee clattered into the driving cockpit area. Straight into the lap of Mrs.
Funny, because
Conrad.
that's actually what she said, isn't it? Oh, it's landed in the cockpit.
That was in the bloody cockpit. Right into Mrs. Conrad's lap. Mr. and Mrs. Conrad. Mrs. Conrad, just a lady. Mr. Conrad's like a really pale weed man. He's got a big like cowboy moustache. It lands in the thing, and he's like, and his wife goes, "Go and speak to him," and he's like, "I'm fine."
Yeah, it was proper like resigned to doing it. He was almost like, oh yeah, well, it's just frisbee, fucking hell. And she was proper going on about it. It was really weird. It was a really weird interaction. And then it was like, she was saying that she was going to get decapitated by the frisbee. Like, oh, it's going to come in and chop my head off. Like that. It was like, it's just, it's weird.
I think it's unlikely, given that the angle, like as he subsequently says to
31 degrees.
31-degree angle. We're not going to be able to.
Yeah.
You might sort of give a blunt force trauma to the skull, but you would probably not need to decapitate it fully.
Wasn't going to happen. The whole interaction was, it struck of like them trying to, where they try and do like the long drawn out dialogue to try and be amusing in itself. But it wasn't. It was just really tedious.
What's this when he goes to speak to the guy?
Yeah, and the car as well, where she was like,
the car bit.
blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, so it should kind of show that. I think it kind of sets up for you that he's like a henpecked husband and she's always on at him.
Yeah,
But then it kind of, at the end of it, kind of subverts it. So it sets her up as one kind of character, and you think, oh, she's like a busybody.
I thought he'd be
and
really
whatever.
meek, the guy, but he wasn't when he went
No,
to talk
exactly,
to
yeah.
him.
No, it turned out, he went to a door and he was a proper prick, wasn't he? So like,
Yeah, he was, yeah.
I was expecting him to go and say, oh, my wife just said, whatever. But then he actually pricked it up.
He pricked it up, yeah.
I thought it was a bit odd, given the fact we now know about like her inability to have kids.
Yeah.
She was annoyed with the kids. You thought it should be like sort of, do you know what I mean? Like happy
But it
about
wasn't
them.
annoyance, I'm like, shit, it was jealousy and longing, which manifests itself in her being resenting their parents.
Oh, yeah, okay, fair.
So then, yeah, this and in that interaction, it kind of beat Palmer. It shot from behind him, and it shot to make him look like a normal kind of slightly tanned colour, and then Mr. Conrad looks really pale in comparison to him. And in conjunction with his voice and like what he's saying about the frisbee came through my sunroof at an angle of 31 degrees and at approximate speed of 25 miles an hour and he checks his watch and he says 1:38 p.m. And then so that happens.
Is that accurate for a frisbee to go 25 miles an hour? I
Seemed
don't
a bit
really know,
fast.
really.
I wanted that, yeah.
Seemed a bit fast. But then he's guessing, he's making an approximation based on.
Yeah, but he was kind of across like he was being like, oh, I'm.
So I thought that was quite a nice little expressionistic touch there, making him look really pale.
Jesus Christ.
His name's Ben, by the way, Jeffrey Palmer. Ben Parkinson.
Parkinson.
Parkinson, yeah.
Parkinson.
Ben Parkinson.
Fastest frisbee throw is
West.
89.5 miles an hour.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Is that with an official competition weight frisbee?
No, apparently that was set on. Oh, hang on a minute. The scene of Butterflies, 19.
Lyndhurst,
Lyndhurst.
world record holder.
That's what the outtakes were.
Guinness. Well, I wonder why that guy with a clipboard was standing watching him play frisbee. I thought it was like a council, but no. It was,
Yeah, and the 2 records are broken up there because the first one was the farthest in frisbee, and then afterwards the longest amount of time spent clapping. Just in awe of that throw. Yeah, well, at 89 miles an hour, potentially there could be decapitation involved with at that speed.
that could be, but then you've got to
reckon?
think about what type of frisbee, because that frisbee had like quite a rounded edge, didn't it? If you had a frisbee
But
that had
anything
like a
travelling
sheer
at
edge,
fast enough speed.
what, like a cricket bat? Oh, I don't know. I don't know what immediately a cricket bat.
Why was that your go-to?
What a threat.
Not even an hour cricket
Yeah,
bat.
you, me, and the wicket now.
I was thinking of something like quite fat and chunky, isn't it? Like this
Point
going
at
89
me.
miles an hour
If you
wouldn't
like-
cut your head
if
off,
you
would it?
What,
No.
toilet
For,
paper?
for context, they roll a kitchen roll, throwing it at your head at 89 miles an hour. It's not going to cut your head off, is it?
No. But a cricket bat, if you flung it and it was doing
Yeah,
that,
okay, yeah, fine. A cricket bat, I guess, maybe. But
and you shouted Valhalla as you let go. Okay.
just,
Right,
yeah.
I think we've covered that then, and then so that's setting up Mrs. Conrad based on her interaction with Mr. Conrad as a bit of a busybody, and you're supposed to feel unsympathetic towards her. That's how I felt it was set up to be.
That's how it felt, yeah, for me as well.
Mr. Conrad as well. So then they're talking, and then it turns out at the end of it, for some reason, he goes, "Well, I suppose we'd have to have dinner now because we just moved in or whatever." And he's like, "Oh, fuck's sake." Then it goes to, and then it cuts to like a quite a short interlude between. Rhea is walking back to her house, and because in the first scene when she's talking to Leonard, that she said, "Oh, I get a feeling of dread every time I approach my house. Is that normal or whatever?" So then she's walking along towards her house. Mrs. Conrad's sitting in the car waiting for Mr. Conrad to come back. So, and then this is like a quite interesting. There's some quite interesting choices made, I think, in this episode because like then there's like a voiceover between like showing their internal monologue. So
Yeah, I
she
thought it was
says.
quite good.
Rhea's walking along and she says, no, Mrs. Conrad looks at her and
Like
her...
a nosy cow or something, didn't she?
No, she looks at her and her internal monologue is polished cow.
Polished cow, that was it.
And then Rhea looks at her and then her internal monologue is like... Oh, it's funny thing faces, isn't it? Like, it's funny because hers is like about as cheerful as a Roman coin, is her thing.
Mm.
It was, I thought was an interesting choice and you got a bit of a laugh. And then we're... Well, not from us.
No.
We didn't laugh at all.
Someone laughed back in the 70s, yeah.
No. I did laugh at actually in the scene in the park because there was just like a long series of just shots between Rhea talking and then a reaction shot of Leonard, this unmoving face. It could have been a still shot of his face looking at her, and then it sequentially went from her to him to her to him, but each time it's cutting closer to their face.
Oh, really?
I don't understand
notice
what it was trying to build tension or something. I don't know. It just seemed odd, and that made me laugh because it was such a strange choice to make. I didn't understand
No, I didn't notice
what was
that.
going on there. Right, yeah. So after the two women talking, sorry, I'm taking over this, but
No, go for
this is the first. Look, how many notes I've written.
That's
I never
nice.
usually write notes. Look, I've done about 3 pages of notes because I thought because it was Marla Lane, I thought I should give it a go.
That's why I gave you the smaller book, so you feel better about
It looks
yourself.
better, yeah. Yeah.
I've read a whole book.
That's why my hands are so small. Penis. So then it goes to Ben, and he shouts up to the kids, to 2 lads, the penis lads, to come down to tell them off because he's annoyed that basically he's annoyed that he has to have dinner with Mr. Conrad because he's a bit of a boring drip. And this is so then he's telling them off, and then they get a laugh because they both come down and they both got novelty t-shirts on. So not Lyndhurst. Was the other one's lad? No. Pete.
Every time. Russell is wearing a t-shirt that says he's a sex object with an arrow pointing at Nicholas Lyndhurst, who plays Adam in this, and Adam is wearing a t-shirt, both black t-shirts. This one has got a bra on it,
and a bit of cleavage poking out.
Big like proper spherical breasts, weren't they?
Perfect.
Spherical. So they came back down, and Russell's character was standing on the left with the arrow pointing to the right, with Adam there with the boobs and the
He's
bra.
a sex object. Pointing
Pointing at there.
Yeah.
And then did you see them switch places at all? I didn't notice that.
It probably happened off scene. Like, I mean, they probably moved around. They weren't like.
It happened really quickly. He didn't see them move, but then it must have been doing a cut just to set up the next joke.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't see the point in having them walk down that way. They could have just done it the other way around.
So basically, he's telling them off and he's not getting anywhere, and they're kind of laughing at him and sniggering, and they swap places so that I'm a sex object is pointing at him, and he realises, and it gets a big laugh because he's like, I'll ask you not to stand so that I'm being accused of being a sex object. And they're like,
Being accused.
And then Rhea is like kind of sniggering to herself, and then she goes, "Oh, I better step in." And this is where, for the rest of the episode, I think this is where the shift in tone happens. And it doesn't really come back until the very, very last scene.
Mm.
Yeah. This is where the shift... It really does shift, and I thought... At first, I wasn't on board with it, because it seemed like a really odd shift in tone, but because it continued, I was like, well, this is obviously like a thematic thing that's like across the episode as a whole.
Just so I understand correctly, in that she decided, no, hang on, I should be siding with my husband here.
Yeah.
Right.
So then she's like sticking up for him, and then it turns into her railing against everything, like her existential.
It sort of took over, didn't it? Really?
Yeah. Chris?
Yeah. Where was this in the church?
No, in the house. In the house when she gets to dinner.
Oh, for dinner. Yeah, she went fucking nuts.
So this
didn't
is where,
she,
yeah,
for
this is
dinner?
where Chris was
Like,
right. It's tied
outrageous.
into the bad cooking thing. Because she's saying, oh, you come to his house and like he comes in back to on his lunch break after because he's toiling at work, and he comes back to sample the house that he pays for, and the kids that he's looked after, and then the food that. And then they start sniggering because she mentions food. She's like, "Yeah, all right, the food that I ruined." And she picks up the 2 like floppy leeks and a floppy fish, and she throws like a big rock hard baked potato.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was rock hard. It was quite rubbery when it bounced. But yeah,
It sounded weighty the way it hit the table.
Potato.
A big potato, wasn't it? Big potato.
I mean, how do you muck up a baked potato? She must be going through something, really. I mean,
Right, so then that's the breakdown starts, and then I think after that is the church scene, isn't it?
yeah. Did
Just
we
saying
find?
next, yeah.
Just think. Did any of us actually find her having a mental breakdown amusing?
No.
I
It
didn't.
wasn't. I don't know,
'Cause it wasn't like it was a funny breakdown. It was just like an actual mental breakdown. Like it wasn't like done in a funny way. Like it wasn't over something stupid. It was like she was actually having a breakdown.
I think like if somebody told me before going into this wasn't a comedy, I think I'd believe it.
Yeah.
Like, it's not to say that there wasn't funny moments in it, because I could see what it was supposed to be, but largely like it was done better as something that isn't a comedy. Like the telling the story of the woman having a mental breakdown, like that was done better than.
Yeah, if
there
you
was
told me this was like a
comic
drama,
elements.
I'd have
Yeah,
probably
for
thought,
sure.
Christ, I wouldn't watch it. But
No, me neither. But
did it better
I'd,
than
I'd
the,
appreciate
comedy?
it more.
Well, I don't know. I think I should say now that I thought this was really good. I thought this was. I think it wasn't as a
programme?
comedy. The criterion of it being a comedy, I don't think it was. But then maybe age is dated, But it was a very gentle comedy, like we said it would be. But I thought, as written across the whole of the episode, I thought it was really, really well written.
Yeah,
I really liked it.
for the characters and stuff. Yeah, I can agree with that. But just,
And some of the lines of dialogue and stuff are really good. I really
For the dialogue?
yeah, some of it was really good. I thought we'll get onto that. But,
okay.
But then, like, we're saying, like I said, I mean, the scene in the kitchen where it switches that tone. I said I thought it felt awkward in the time, but as the time of the episode went on, I felt it fit in quite well, and like the shift of tone was like wasn't just in the scene; it was part of a shift in tone for the whole episode.
Yeah, the whole thing it was her building up.
So then, yeah, we're arguing that like. It's dealing with a really serious subject that wasn't funny, but then we could say like one of our favourite things we watched was One Foot in the Grave, and you could say the same thing about that. There are really funny parts in it, really funny with Deaton, like being Deaton, but then there are like really dark things that he touches on. And
But the whole show of One Foot in the Grave is a balance. So like if something bad happens to Victor in that, the thing that happens is so absurd that he's just like, this can only happen to him. It's that sort of thing.
I suppose, yeah,
whereas in this, it's
It's
like,
just like bleak.
yeah.
that said, though, I would sorry, that was loud. Well, that said, though, I would say that we probably, as of course, the three of us seen more One Foot in the Grave than. I would say that none of us have seen any more than this Butterflies in this one episode.
No,
No.
yeah, of course.
But for the episode that we were sort of watching it on, it was like they didn't intermingle it with any sort of laughs. There wasn't really anything like amusing in between. It was just like bleak, 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 bleak. No, like sort of like I don't know. Not by the end of the episode. It's like Christ.
Are we trying to find the humorist? Is that what you're getting?
Yeah, no, I can see where you're coming from. There were long stretches of it that weren't. But then I think it was intentional. Like it wasn't like it was trying to make things funny that weren't landing at all. It was saying, right, this is the part where we're dealing with this now, and we're not going to do any jokes.
Yeah,
like
there
the
was
part in the car.
definite parts
when
of
the
that.
guy was the chauffeur was driving in. There wasn't really anything funny in that, and it was intentional, wasn't it? Like, and then like in the church.
Well, I think I try to put funny stuff into it. I try to put funny stuff like where he's going like, "Oh, you know how you like loom up behind me, your friend's in the park," and then he looms up behind him and grabs him. It's just really weird.
Yeah.
I know, that was trying to be funny, but it wasn't very funny.
But you could argue that it did get a laugh, like from the audience. I mean, we didn't think it was funny,
No.
but there are lots of things that we don't think are funny in this podcast that other people seem to, for some reason, think are really funny.
Yeah,
yeah, I can understand what you're saying.
Yeah, I don't know.
But I wasn't expecting to come out. I wasn't expecting to get anything out of this, and I'm really quite surprised that I did.
What did you get out of it?
No, just in terms of like I thought it was really, really well put together and really well written.
Well, yeah, it was edited, right? Yeah. Well, yeah.
No, this as a piece of writing, I thought it was really good.
I can get on board with that,
Yeah, I guess
but
so,
the criteria of like for me, if it's a comedy, I should be laughing more than I'm engaging with it. So it's the same problem I had when I first watched. I know this is an American thing, but Orange Is the New Black. That was sold to me as a comedy. In the first series of that I watched, it didn't feel more a comedy. I don't know if either of you have seen that. Sorry, but
We do this all the time, though. We always come up with the same examples, like Catastrophe or something like that.
Mm.
It's got like, or Fleabag or something. We always come up with the same examples, and then we always go, oh yeah, that's true. You say they're both comedies, aren't they? But they both touch on like serious things, and there are parts of it that aren't funny.
Yeah, but
They're deliberately not trying to make anything funny.
It's the ratio and the weighting of it though. Like the something like Fleabag, for example, that it's got clear bits where like you'll like be finding it very funny, and there's other bits where you're finding it very like hard hitting and like going, oh fuck, Jesus Christ, I can't believe that. So it's the balance of it. It's brilliant, and that's what makes that a worthy show, winning all the awards that it's had. But something like Butterflies, I'm watching one woman's mental breakdown.
Yeah, but then also I'd say as well
there are jokes scattered,
Sorry.
but like it's the percentage like of it. Like the jokes are like the little sprinklings on top of what is like a well written show about a woman having a breakdown.
Yeah, that is fair. But then also to counter that, I would also say that the examples that we're bringing up, Fleabag is in the last 3 or 4 years, isn't it? Catastrophe is a similar period of time. But
Yeah.
One Foot in the Grave is like early to mid 90s. This is like late 70s. So I think in that sense, I would say maybe it's ahead of its time.
Yeah, so I'm going to just get up the for listeners at home. I'm going to get up the
He's got an Excel
sitcom
spreadsheet.
timeline.
He couldn't wait to get it out, could he?
It's helpful. So
Look at that. So, like for context, look at the same time as Are You Being Served?
yeah, so let's just
Yeah.
let's get that there.
Terry and June and Heidi High are happening at the same time as this. Do you know what I mean? So, like, this is quite complex and like emotionally.
Absolutely.
It doesn't
I'm not
completely,
arguing
it doesn't
that at all.
completely work.
That's fair enough,
Yeah.
but was it entertaining? Would you watch it if it was on now? Are you going to go home and like burn through the rest of the Butterflies?
No,
'Cause
but
you
I wouldn't have watched it at all. But now that we've watched it,
Yeah.
I'm just giving it a fair. What I think is fair.
Yeah,
Metal
okay.
Mickey was at the same time as this.
Yeah, but Metal Mickey. All right, look, I'm not saying. Oh, I don't know. But I enjoyed.
Metal
the-
Mickey got AIDS. I was really sensitive to hand on.
Yeah, but it doesn't have to
Mickey
be,
at a
does
clinic.
it? Why does it have to be? Doesn't it? It's plenty of drama things on it. Why do you have to like? I mean, I enjoyed my time watching Metal Mickey more than I enjoyed watching this. And that's not because, Metal Mickey did the drama better, and like there was that that touching moment about leaving home and leaving your family behind, was it? It's like
That's true as well. That's true as well. But then I'm just saying in the environment that it was produced in and the time period.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but there must have been like but there must have been loads of stuff produced in that time period, not necessarily like in the comedy genre that was just as hard hitting and thought provoking. This wasn't like the only show that was ever tackling any tough issues in the 70s, was it?
It just feels like this was put in the wrong category.
This was kind of like, this was putting itself out there as like, okay, bittersweet. So the idea is with bittersweet, it's like it's not all laughs and jokes, but there is some in there. Whereas this, I thought, what actually made me laugh? What was actually funny in this episode?
I'm interested to see what we're going to say when we get to the joke of the week.
Like,
Yeah, I mean, like none of us were cracking up with me, but then
No, but not even
You
anything
can
that's
say,
like
you can even say
amusing.
that about all the sitcoms, like I've just mentioned in this period. Like none of them were like. I think we're kind of removed from it by its age.
Yeah, but that's the point of what it's supposed to do, isn't it? Like, as it stood the test of time. Like, that's kind of what we're here for.
Yeah. Oh, we'll get onto that, I suppose. So anyway, so this is I think this is where it kind of really set its stall out in terms of what it was trying to do, which is the church scene. So it starts off, and we were like, "Oh, was this like a dream sequence?" Because it was shot like really oversaturated and with a kind of like soft edges to this thing. Like, oh, this looks like a dream sequence, but then it kind of dissolved back into the normal thing, and she was hearing like internal kind of. She could hear like the guy. What was the thing he said? She said, she said something, and he said, "Oh, you're bent but not broken." She heard that in her head echoing and that kind of shit. And then so she's praying and all that, and then she gets up to leave the church. She's on her own in this little church, and then she stops and then turns, and I was like, "Well, she's going to do like a fucking monologue thing here," and then she does like a monologue to God. How do you feel about
that? I mean, again, it depends on what criteria I'm assessing this. Like, it wasn't funny. She was just like ranting at God, and then she sat back down and prayed to God. So, like, it for me, it didn't do anything for the comedy. I don't remember anything being funny in what she said there, unless I'm misremembering
it? I heard like a few laughs going on. I was making notes, so I didn't hear everything she said, but I got a few. I think it was just. I don't know, like for the time period, I think like something in a drama, unless it was something that was kind of in the context we could do something structurally like this, like a play or something where people accept the conceit of you having a monologue to God. But this is like on BBC Two. This is a sitcom where a character has like a lengthy monologue about her existential crisis to God.
Yeah, but then nothing happened with it. It was literally she just went in and ranted to God, and it was like okay, and then she just walked out. Whereas like
she saw Miss Conrad.
Yeah, she saw Miss Conrad, and then she just kind of turned and looked at her and then walked out. And it was like, well, okay, but it's not like they did anything. Like, okay, if she could have walked in, gone to the altar, had a rant to God, and done all that, then she could have turned around and there'd have been like a Sunday school class or something in there or something like that. So it's not the rant; it's the absurdity of the situation.
That joke happens with the dog.
Yeah, but that was, I know, but again, that was just what was that?
That's good. How about more?
No, but I don't know. It's just rants, wasn't it? It was just like I don't know.
I think what
I don't really feel it worked as it wasn't funny. It wasn't amusing.
I'm not faulting the writing of this only. I'm only faulting the writing of this in aimed at it being a sitcom.
I'm faulting the writing of it as being a piece of comedy.
Yeah.
It was well written as a show, but it wasn't
sure.
a well. I don't think it was a well written comedy show.
Yeah, it didn't make me come away from this going, oh, I remember that time that funny show spoke about like a woman having a mental breakdown or like crisis of being a mother and like finding it hard and being in a relationship. I mean,
again, we're looking at this 2 seasons in, so we don't know about the lead up to it. I don't know whether it was better set, but it just seemed like, I mean, if this is season 2, episode 4, I mean, is she just mentally snapping out of the blue like every episode? Like, because that's like...
if every episode...
So at some point it stops being funny and it starts being quite like sad, really.
Yeah.
Well, I think also just I didn't like the fact the family didn't seem to give a shit that she was having a mental breakdown. Like the doctor
even the
after
retorts
the doctor's.
I think that's the point, though. That's the point.
Yeah, but it wasn't funny.
Bear in mind that it's written by women as well.
Yeah, but it wasn't funny. It wasn't funny. The fact that they didn't like it. It was just. Felt. I don't know. For me, it just felt really out of place. Like. They didn't do anything amusing with like, oh, she's like having a breakdown. They literally just sat there and he read the paper and watched TV and was like, oh, just leave her to it.
So, like, going back to your point of like,
I don't know whether that would be funny about them, but I just didn't really sit with it.
So, like, it was written by a woman, but like the way the men act in this really is just like for me how the men would probably act.
Yeah,
I felt accurate. Like the response was just unemotive towards it, making casual snidey remarks. But for me, and I may be wrong in saying this, to make that a comedy, you amp that up. You don't just leave it as it is. To leave it as it is makes it more true to life.
They'd have to given them like an extreme version of that. Like proper, like, so it's so ludicrous, it'd be like, it's unbelievable that they're acting that way. Whereas that, it was just what are you saying?
So like, she's throwing stuff down the stairs, and that's all funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's supposed to be funny. That,
Yeah.
and the way that all three male characters in this, the two sons and the husband, they just act fairly normal, as like probably me and my brother would, and my dad, like just going, oh, she's up to it again. Like there was nothing more in that to make that whole scene a comedy. You would, I assume, made some of them characters a caricature of what that's like. But I can't believe, she's throwing my skeleton down the stairs, or just something like that, something that added to it, rather than them just going, yeah, that's happening.
Well, even in the case like he's like sitting in a chair with the stairs overlooking it, so as she's throwing it, it's like falling around him, and he's just getting on with it while it's like chaos around him. It's like landing in his glass or something like that, and he's just drinking it with still in it.
Yeah.
Like, so it's like, but they were in another room listening to it. Which,
Yeah, it completely removed from the scene. Or the bit where Lyndhurst says like, "Oh, she doesn't throw my guitar." I was listening out for the sound of guitar to crash. I'm like, that's going to happen surely, but then it didn't. So like, it was written true to life rather than
too
comedy.
true to life, like too realistic.
Which I think that's not to say that can't be done well, but yeah, I don't know.
But I don't think that's just what
That's
this
not what
show
this
is.
No, it's not. You're
Well,
right.
what is it,
It's
though?
not that sort of comedy. But
Well, isn't that-
what sort of
I
comedy
wouldn't
is
say
it?
it was like naturalistic, but it's tending that way rather than what you two are looking for. I think.
Yeah, no, I understand that, but what I don't understand is what is it supposed to be? Like, where is?
Well, I think that's why it's
comedy?
interesting.
Yeah, but you're saying interesting.
but not something you'd watch for a bit of.
Where's the lulls?
Amusement.
Where are all the lulls at?
Yeah, but then this is what this is. I mean, this is a BBC Two comedy as well. So then I think that changes like what you should be expecting from it as well. Because BBC Two, I don't know, is not kind of throughout its lifetime has been where you put like the slightly odd things, and like when we were growing up, like you put on BBC Two was the Office was on BBC Two, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so. I don't remember.
So you know all the stuff that I liked watching growing up, were like not the mainstream comedies, but the slightly odd
yeah,
and the culty type things. And I wouldn't say the Butterflies is like a cult show,
well,
but I think this all kind of feeds into it. And I'm not like I don't think obviously it wasn't the hilarious and the funniest thing I've ever watched, but I think it deserves. I don't know. Like Chris said, yeah. I mean, interesting doesn't make it a great comedy, but I think as a whole, I think it was a successful thing. And like I was a bit dubious before I was reading about Carla Lane and saying that this is probably their best work, but it was really good.
okay. I'm not faulting that. I didn't.
She portrays someone having a mental breakdown very well. I didn't want to laugh at it.
Yeah, well then.
I think she needs to get help.
Like,
She needs
on the other side of the coin, we
what a
could say
bleak time of life.
the other side of the coin, we could, if you had done that, made it a cartoonish, hilarious thing, which is outlandishly about a mental breakdown, you'd be like,
Yeah, and then
we could say, well, that was funny, but then it's a bit off that we're portraying a mental breakdown and we're laughing at her.
Yeah, but then the thing with that is not to make you laugh at her. It's to laugh at the people's reactions to her and how it's like in the situation, isn't it?
But then you could also extend it to that, saying that she's not there. Well, they weren't taking her seriously anyway. But then I think I don't think they didn't care. I think it's that they just emotionally didn't know what to do, and they didn't know what was happening or what was causing this, and they didn't know what to do about it. So
Well, that's what they just
informed their reactions.
But that's like they didn't know what to do with the character. And they just had them sit in a room. Oh, she's having this scene where she's having a breakdown. What do we do with these three? I don't know. We'll just have them sitting down and saying, "Oh, she's doing it again."
I just think that we've watched shows where it's been the same. We've had the same amount of laughs, but have had nothing else to take away from it.
I agree. Like, wait, so all right, let's pair this against the probably ultimate example for me, Waiting for God. Waiting for God was horrendous. Like,
This is
I never want to spend another second of my
comedy
life.
where like you go, oh, I understand what you're trying to do, but it isn't funny.
Yeah, but this made me think, which for me, a lot of good comedies have that aspect to it as well. But it had more of that than comedy.
After she leaves the church, right? She's driving. She's driving in her Mini, yeah, and she runs over a dog. She's having like wasn't it an internal monologue? Or she was talking out loud to herself in the car, saying, "Oh, I'm happy. My husband's great. He's got a craggy face, and he's got so much wisdom." And she's like talk herself around into
and I like that she was talking herself around rather than that being in her head. I thought that was good,
which is fine. A dog runs out. It's a border collie. Runs across the road. She's furious. She stops the car and she goes, and the dogs are sitting there panting on the side of the road, looking at her.
Yeah, right in her face.
Right in her, pumping the breath into her face. And then I can't remember exactly what she said to the dog. Like, saying that was silly. You don't want to die, do you, or whatever.
Yeah, just like I thought it was weird where she said like, "Oh, you're going to die," and then nothing much happens after that. So someone who goes to church to not believe in any sort of onward movement is a bit weird. I thought.
I thought it was like quite a. I don't know if it's interesting or clever or whatever, but she's had this in the scene before, a monologue to God, and now she's having a little monologue to a dog.
Dog, yeah.
I think that's just because they called the episode "A Dog's Life," and I thought, "Hang on a minute, there's no dog." Oh, put a new scene in, yeah.
So then she's having this extended monologue out loud at the side of the street to a dog, and then she looks up, and the camera, the shot changes to behind her, looking up from her point of view, and there's a group of people looking at her. Like,
yeah, that was done really well.
Dismayed, which is got quite a big laugh, isn't it?
Yeah, that's a good trope, and it was done well.
And she's like, "Well, I just didn't want him to die." And then she just sort of meekly gets back into her car and drives off.
I half expected that dog to follow her into the car for some reason, but I know it's not that sort of comedy. But
Dog in.
yeah, because she had sort of had the door open for a little bit, and I kind of thought that the dog would run in and they would adopt the dog, but then I realised the sort of comedy I was watching.
Yeah, that was the only reference to a dog in this. That was it. I can't understand why it was called A Dog's Life.
Because she's
It probably goes back to
she's having a bad time.
yeah.
Yeah, I guess so. No, I'm very literal.
I want to know more about the dog's life.
I wanted to know more about that dog. What did that dog do when it went home? How did it grow up?
And then she goes to the doctor after this.
Yes, she does. And the doctor tells her she's got nervous exhaustion.
And I thought it was going to go into like a slightly misogynistic, patronising, "Oh, you're hysterical," whatever kind of thing. But then he was quite understanding and sympathetic to her. And then he had like a little line about, she was like, "I'm not going insane, am I?" And he's like, "Well, you know, we all kind of interact with insanity, and it's like, or think of it as like a pool or like a swimming pool. Some of us dive into insanity like head first. Some of us just peer into our reflection, and then some of us, aided and abetted by us, just dip our toes into it."
Did you write all that?
That's quite an interesting line, yeah. Oh. So then that happens, and she's like, "I could give you like the drugs to numb you or whatever," but she was like, "Nah, allow it." And she leaves, and then he immediately phones Ben, who I think it turns out he's like a university friend of him.
It sounded like it, yeah. I think the doctor was saying something about, he was loosely talking about the time this person did something at uni that wore wellies or something.
Yeah, ran down
and he was talking about Ben.
halls with nothing but wellies and a woolly hat on. And
he
said, "Oh, and you've still got funny legs," or something like that.
That was it, yeah.
Bit of humour there, everyone laughed. I
Yeah.
didn't. Then I missed this because it goes back to the interior of their house, and Ben's there doing his butterfly collection. Yeah, so it cuts from the doctor to Ben on the phone to the doctor, and then the phone call ends, and then Ben sits down and starts doing his butterfly thing, and he's playing with a butterfly, and he says, "Oh, just as beautiful and just as difficult to handle." All right, which is, butterflies. And like, is it a cleaning lady? And she says something, and I got a laugh. I didn't hear what she said. I wasn't paying attention. I was writing a note down, so I didn't hear what she said.
Yeah, I didn't really hear what she said. He said either.
Got a laugh, so that's a bit of sprinkling of comedy. Yeah.
I'm not saying it's not a
Carla
comedy.
Lane's hired me as a defence solicitor.
Yeah,
for
that's what it
this
sounds
show.
like. I could see the comedy in it, and it just didn't land. Is the only point I'm trying to make.
Fine, yeah. After this is the scene with Big Leonard and his chauffeur driving down a country lane. He's been for a jog or something.
Sorry, the bit in between where they throw stuff down the stairs. We kind of covered that.
Shit,
already.
yeah, I didn't write anything for that. I was
No,
too
sorry.
distracted.
I think we just said it previously. Like, she just chucks stuff down the
She's
stairs.
she's chucking shit down the stairs from the two sons' bedrooms. They're, like we've just said, don't know what to do. Then she snaps out of it, but like not snaps out of it in complete normality. She's like obviously on edge, and she goes, "I'm going to the shops now."
Yeah, it was almost as if she didn't even know she'd just done that.
Yeah, and she's like, "Clean this mess up," and leaves. Then it's the Leonard and the chauffeur, which is again was thought pretty good scene. He's talking about marriage or something with the chauffeur.
Oh yeah, the chauffeur was saying to him like, trying to warn him off, going, she's married and blah blah blah. And then he said, at my age, everyone's married and attached. Yeah.
I think we should go back to the very start of this as well, where she was talking about how her son Adam broke up with his girlfriend recently, and saw that the girlfriend, was then sort of eyeing up Leonard. So like he's like basically lots of women fancy him and that. So he's supposedly an attractive guy, and people want him. So the chauffeur was essentially saying, "What are you talking about? It's like you don't have to go for this woman. You can have anyone you want." It was essentially that. But he was saying that, but no, alluding to the fact that he just wanted Rhea.
Yeah, which kind of ties into the whole people want what they don't have thing.
Yeah.
And then the chauffeur says, and he says something like, "Marriage is I don't know, like a dash of happiness or something, like topped up with despair or something. And then the fella Leonard's like, yeah, like when you have whiskey, you know, mixed into a lifetime of water or something. And then the chauffeur's
Memorable line.
and the chauffeur's like, yeah, but you're drunk, you're so drunk that you don't even notice. I can't remember the exact line, but I thought it was really good.
It was really good.
Line.
So good. I immediately forgot
I
it.
forgot the exact wording.
And
But I
just-
thought it was
yeah,
a really
go on
good.
it.
I thought that was good.
If I'm honest, I think I was staring into the middle distance at that point. But yeah, sounds good.
Sounds good if you say so.
Take your word for it, mate.
So this is when they're pulling into the park to see if she's there.
Yeah, this is where he takes the wheel and steers it around. And instead of a chauffeur
Really
thinking, like, I've
frustrating,
got no
mate.
control of this car, I'll stop it. He just keeps the pedal going down and just
Floors it.
literally just allows the car to be guided in a park, just wherever it wants to go. Yeah. That's in the chauffeur's handbook. If there's any over difficulty, just floor it. Just like, don't brake.
Goes up the seesaw. He's on two wheels. Way.
Whatever you do, don't brake. That's it. The chauffeur's handbook. Fucking hell.
So he runs over to Rhea because he's got. Bearing in mind, as he's getting out of the car, the chauffeur's like, "You've got a business meeting in 4 minutes."
Yeah, 4 minutes.
Yeah.
Just going to turn up sweating.
Just been
in
for
his jogging
just been
clothes.
for a run. Like, what's his-
So Rhea's on a bench because obviously she's walked out of the house because she's had a mental breakdown. So she's gone to the park, and then he walks over to her and he's trying to talk to her, and obviously she's just not with it. So she's just not listening to him, and then he gets all arsey and goes, "Right, well then, fuck you then," or something like that.
Yeah, I think that's the exact words actually. Yeah. I didn't write it down. So fuck you then.
No, but he does. I can't remember what he said, but
It
he
is odd. He does dismiss her.
he gets all angry and then dismisses her and then walks off.
Not in so many words. He says to her like, "Oh, I could kind of have anyone I want to. Like,
Yes.
you're lucky that I'm paying attention to you." Sort
Yeah.
of thing.
Bit of a dick move.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty brickish. Especially if like you're sweating.
But he wears bow tie, so we knew that in the start.
That's true. All the signs are on the wall. All the classic warning signs. So he says that to her, and then he's like,
And he just walks off and shit.
no. He says something like, that could, if you overheard it, which is being overheard by Mrs. Conrad, as it turns out.
Yeah.
He says something, I don't know why I bother coming to these our little orgies in the park, and he storms off, and the camera cuts a wider shot, and Mrs. Conrad is on the bench next to him, and then Rhea realises, she's like, for fuck's sake, like, if she heard that, you'd think that I was, banging some bloke in the park.
Yeah.
So she's furious, she storms over to confront her.
It's the third time they met each other. So it was the
Yes.
church, doctors, and now in the park.
Yeah, and she goes, "Oh, if you're trying to annoy me, scare me, or something else, well done, you've done all three."
Are you spying on me?
Yeah. And then the next door neighbour says, "Well, what's up with you? You've been in the church, the doctors, and the park."
So
So
you nosy cow.
someone who's just worried.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, just a person.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't necessarily
I'm
mean
just a religious
anything, does
person
it?
with an illness and a lot of time. Like,
Yeah,
leave me
like-
alone.
Mm. And then it goes into just depressingly bleak monologue about the fact she can't have children.
thought
No,
it was
it's like-
great. I thought
was it great?
it was great. Yeah, it was
What was great
brilliant.
about it?
What I thought was odd is that she didn't. I don't remember. Correct me if I'm wrong. At no point did she say I can't have children. She said I don't have children.
Yeah.
But I think it's implied, isn't it?
Oh, right.
Yeah, so she explains this to Rhea, and then she breaks down, and then Rhea. So she says, "I'll go to the doctors because I'm worried about not having any kids, and I go to the church because I don't have any kids, and then I come to the park because I've got nothing else to do because I don't have any kids." And then Rhea goes, said in a sort of mirror of that, she's like, "I went to the doctor because I'm so stressed because I've got kids, and I went to the church because I've got kids, and I come to the park because I just want to get away from my house full of my kids."
But
Yeah.
wasn't the way that was set up? It was like an AAABBB. So the one woman said everything, and then the other woman said the exact opposite.
Yeah.
So, for again, personal opinion, like the other way you would do that would be one woman says, "Oh, I'm really worried because I don't have this," and everyone's like, "Oh, I'm really worried because I don't have this," and that would escalate. But for me, that would be a sense of comedy rather than one going, "These are all my problems," and everyone going, "Yeah, I've got the same ones."
It wasn't supposed to be funny.
Well, exactly.
But it's a
That's my
comedy.
big
Like,
problem
you could
with
still,
this.
you would still
It's
write
not
about
supposed to be
that.
funny.
It's a bittersweet comedy.
But that would still
It
hold
was
the
too much
element of
bitter.
it being sad.
Not enough sweet.
Yeah, give me the sugar. That's all I'm asking for.
Come on.
It wouldn't have landed emotionally then.
Yeah, but why
That's the point of
but
the
that-
point of what they were
it-
trying to do. The intent.
No, but I think it would have done.
Who's switching on to like BBC Two comedy, thinking like, oh, it's whatever time this was on, thinking, I'd really like a bleak evening, please. Like, what was on after this? I don't know.
My
I
day's
need
been
to know
too
about
happy
schedules.
today.
Yeah. Like, it's bittersweet, and then there's bleak.
But it wasn't bleak.
It was bleak. Of course, it was bleak. What crying woman on a park bench because she can't have any children and depressed in her life?
Yeah, it was kind of.
Jones
like,
loves that. What are you talking about?
He's always
Watching
outside
from a bush. Oh,
he's
she's
always
sobbing.
outside the fertility clinic.
I can understand
Looking
what you're
for
saying.
laughs.
I can understand how like it was a bit shallow in that Mrs. Conrad is like in utter despair, and it was only used to cheer up Rhea.
Yeah, that's awful. Actually,
That's quite shallow. But then, yeah, it was kind of like I suppose like the structure was kind of like it was like Christmas Carol, Wonderful Life type thing where it's showing her what her life could be like.
yeah.
And it's like literally like she runs. It's like the end of Christmas Carol where she run like the final shot as they're running back, going, "Oh Ben, so-and-so."
Yeah.
So that was the end of it then. But then so I guess it must be just like peaks. It's obviously like peaks and troughs, and like, sitcoms kind of has to at the end reset, don't they? Every time.
Yeah, totally.
So
And
it kind of did, didn't it? I mean,
Yeah,
like
so
it wasn't like
yeah.
she was completely happy again, but like it reset her to being more or less kind of content with what was in her life.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
do think I might have picked a bad episode in the waiting of
Idiot.
the good the good story versus the laughs.
So, joke of the week or because it's so angry,
I'm not angry.
barely suppressed rage. Oh, I'm not angry at all.
I'm just disappointed.
Well, the reveal of the people watching her talking to the dog.
Oh yeah, no, actually, fair. I forgot about
That was
that.
a pretty good setup.
Yeah, it is a classic trope of a joke,
Yeah,
so I'll go with that. Yeah, good shout.
Or was it Mrs. Conrad tearfully revealing that she is infertile? It got a big laugh out of you.
Oh yeah,
Ha ha ha, gutted. That's a bit out of order, I thought.
shame. No,
Baron! I thought that was really out of order.
awful.
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
Anyway. There we go.
It's just what you're saying.
Then my quiz like, that would be funny.
That would be funny,
That was
actually.
good.
Whoa, hang on.
Now we're back on
But he's
track.
making a note.
Let's get a revival.
B-A-R. Yeah. What now? How do we move on?
So we'll segue through with does it stand the test of time? First of all,
Chris?
No, I don't think so, really.
yeah. Actually, you know what I think?
I think if that was on today, I think they would probably handle the mental illness part of it a bit more
Sensitively.
sensitively.
yeah, especially that bit at the end, like you said, with the barren woman.
don't keep saying it. Yeah. And I think it would probably, if it was nowadays, they would. I think there would be. What are you doing?
No, carry on talking.
I think if it was nowadays, there would be more of an effort to distribute the comedy more evenly throughout. I think, which is what you were both looking for. I think that's how they would. Oh, I see.
Yeah,
I think that's how they would. Well, the things will still be there, won't they? Good.
that's weird. Yeah, no, like yeah, as you're saying, I wanted more of the laughs.
No, it just felt a bit flat for me. I didn't really enjoy it. It was, everything I was watching, it wasn't amusing. It was just like, oh my god, she's having a proper breakdown here.
So does it stand the test of time?
Sorry.
Sorry, I distracted us with YouTube comments.
I think comedically, no, it doesn't. No, it doesn't because it was. Yeah. I mean, dynamically, like it was weighed, as I think, as you were both saying, maybe slightly too heavily in the melodramatic side, the emotional side, rather, and it's a bit unbalanced overall. In this episode, I don't know what the rest of them are. Obviously, it's hard to say.
Yeah. Do you want to go into the game?
Clapped out, run down, too old to save. 1 foot in the game.
Very simply, and it's called Butter Lie.
Oh, okay.
So I'm going to read out a series of butterflies, or are they? And you got to tell me whether it's a butterfly or butter lie.
Okay.
So
I thought it would be this, but I thought that would be really obvious.
Well, And shit. Right. Wood, you're going to go first because you won last time.
Did I? And I chose this. Fucking hell. Jesus.
Oh yeah! What a twist! Like M. Night Shyamalan. It turns out Chris chose it after all.
Oh, you brought it on yourself.
Oh, God.
Wood, Essex skipper. Is it butterfly or butterfly?
Butterfly.
It is a butterfly.
Good start.
Good
Strong
start. Jones,
Yeah.
the Emerald Duke. Is that a butterfly or a butterfly?
Butterfly.
It is butterfly.
Yes.
Oh, he's off. Well done. Wood, the Ruby Lady. Butterfly or butterfly?
Butterfly.
It is butterfly.
Oh!
You boys know your butterflies. Jones.
Yeah.
Oh, topical. The Almond Tiger. Butterfly or butterfly?
Butterfly.
Oh, it's butterfly.
Fuck.
Wood. Small copper. Is it a butterfly or butterfly?
Butterfly.
That is a butterfly.
Fuck.
Oh no, he's roaring in front. Jones. Peacock. Butterfly or butterfly?
Butterfly.
That is a butterfly.
Yes. Did it.
Did it. Wood. The Gatekeeper. Is that butterfly or butterfly?
Butterfly.
Oh, it's a butterfly. Oh, Jones could pull this back.
Scared.
Weirdly topical again. Hang on. White letter hair streak. Is that butterfly or butterfly?
White letter hair streak.
Yes.
Butterfly.
That is a butterfly. God, it's a draw.
Pulled it back.
Pulled it back.
How many left? One each.
Yes.
15 each. Gonna get a good average. Come on.
No, sorry, I'm laughing at the name of the next one.
Oh, here we go.
The Purple Emperor.
The what?
Purple Emperor.
Purple Emperor?
Yeah.
What's that funny?
It sounds like a helmet. What?
Based there. Topical. Lyndhurst jeans. Oh, look at him. Look, what's happened to him? The Purple Emperor. Bow down before me.
I'm sorry.
He's sobbing like Mrs. Conrad now, look.
I'll say butterfly.
Fucking idiot.
It's a butterfly.
Dude.
Oh my god.
I'm sorry. Jones, finally, the Navy Admiral.
Butterfly.
It's butterfly.
Fucking hell, it's a draw.
Oh, here's a draw. That's
What
the
do they now? Arm wrestle.
to the death. That's the first ever official draw we've had, which means I get to pick it.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good, yeah.
That's good. Very good, yeah, for me. Will it be good? Will it be good for you?
Sinister.
Me and My Girl.
What's that one?
Oh, tune in next week.
Oh, what a teaser.
Yeah.
What is Me and My Girl?
What episode have we been watching?
Oh, yeah, thank you very much. Apparently, I say listeners, a listener does appreciate us telling them that. The classic series
That's
one.
because he's looking to get his videos taken down off YouTube one by one.
Make a note of that.
he
Stop
finds it
us on our
easier to
tracks.
report, doesn't he?
Series 1, Episode 4, entitled The Home Help of Me and My Girl, is what we'll be watching for the final episode of Series 4.
What a finale.
What a finale that'll be, Me and My Girl, yeah.
Yeah. Alright, yeah.
Alright then.
Yeah.
Where was I?
What are you doing?
I've lost butterflies.
Oh yeah, Mark's obviously too modest to say, but we've got some big news for the podcast. Is that the Great British Shitcom has actually been nominated for best? Not really, we're shit. That's never going to happen.
No.
What a fucking waste of time this is.
I was following along going, what have we won?
As if they contact me. Straight in the bin.
By post. Straight away.
Come on then, do the outro bit.
Find us on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram at British Shitcom, or
don't.
use the hashtag Shitcom. Or go to the website, thegreatbritishshitcom.tmail. That's .t.
I bet you couldn't even find us if you tried.
You fucking tried. You fat thumbed prick.
God, I dare you to leave a review. I bet no one will. No one's got the courage.
He probably try and search for
yeah.
some Twitter and end up tweeting it, you fucking dickhead. Got about 3 successive tweets saying the Great British Shitcom on your own Twitter feed. Fucking dunce. Anyway, thanks for listening. Leave us a review.
I've been Mark.
Oh, yeah, no, I haven't.
No, I haven't.
I said I haven't.
and neither have I. Bye.
I'll see you later.
Love is like a butterfly, soft and gentle as a sun.
Come my lady, come my lady, you're my butterfly, sugar baby. Come my lady, come my lady, you're my butterfly, sugar baby. Such a sexy, pretty little thing. This little bitch, she got me sprung.